Hi there everyone, this is Fatal, and today I wanted to talk about a game that is showing some major promise, Road to Vostok. Road to Vostok is currently in development by a one-man wrecking crew, who has put out some pretty impressive work so far, if I do say so myself. This project is going to be a single-player survival game in a post-apocalyptic setting, and I know a lot of you are going to say, and probably rightfully so, something along the lines of early access survival games always being a scam. To me, this one feels different, and for a few reasons. Based on the website and the videos that the developer has released about the project, the main objective for him working on this game seems to be the integrity behind the development process. He seems set on changing the way that we view development in video games and how transparency can be with the development process. This developer has already laid out a roadmap for the development of this game that is entirely focused around quality instead of either monetary or timeline goals. The demo is currently available on Steam entirely for free and is being released as somewhat of a starting point for the developer. His main concern with this release is to get feedback, whether good or bad, for how the game is so far, so that way he can focus his effort in the correct areas. I have to say that after reading through and listening to all of the statements that he's put out in regards to the game, I have some hope for what this game could potentially be someday. This first demo, and any changes the developer makes following it, will of course be the true testament to what he can do and what we can look forward to in the future. Some of his frequently asked questions have been actually related to the integrity of the game itself and what he's planning on doing in the future with it. And the answers that he's been giving have been very consistent, and he hasn't really been changing his narrative, whether it be on the website or in the YouTube videos themselves. Really enjoy how he's sticking to his guns with sticking to being a one-man development team, also not focusing on different projects. He wants to focus on this game and this game only, which I really appreciate. The other questions that's been asked is if he's planning on making the game a full price game, and he said that he only wants $20 for the full game, $10 for early access, and then otherwise he's not going to be charging anything on top of the original price of the game. So that's a pretty exciting promise. Hopefully he sticks to it. If he does make the proper changes and improvements that everybody's asking for, and everything is up to par after that, there's no reason in my mind that we shouldn't believe what he has to say, especially with everything that he's committed to and spoken about and how he has. The early access for this game is only going to be coming after the game is at a state where the developer feels confident in the quality of the game, and judging based on the first impressions that I have of him, his ability to self-monitor and quality check the game seems to be right on track. Moving into the demo, the first thing that I noticed when I loaded in was how good the graphics were actually. I was pretty impressed with how well the developer was able to model everything, especially working by himself. The shadows, the lighting for all different times of the day, all of it was pretty impressive, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in the future with that. My first issue, although minor, is that when you open up a crate and you try to hit escape to exit it, it brings up the pause menu. Generally in video games, when I go into a menu, I hit escape to get out of it. I don't know if that's just me, but that's just a minor thing that I noticed. The way to actually close the crate properly is to press the button that you used to open it again, and then it'll shut it directly out. I'm just gonna roll through the negatives of the game really quick, so that way at the end I can talk about all the positives and end it on a good note. And I'm only going to be talking about core gameplay issues. I'm not going to be talking about little minor details, because the developer already said himself that he only is worried about core gameplay and bugs in this demo. So the first core issue I really have with this game is in the sound design. I don't know how fixable it is, but especially in the weapons, the sound design just seems a little lackluster. I'm not a huge fan of how tame the weapons sound, especially in a game that reminds me so much of Tarkov and Ground Branch and other games in the genre that have very good sound design, where the weapons really sound like they have some weight behind them. Allow me to demonstrate. And I did notice this issue mainly with the pistol, as with my next point. It's mostly the pistol. The M4 seems fine, and the other weapons seem fine. My next point kind of ties into my last point in that the recoil in this game doesn't feel right. It feels kind of stiff, if that makes sense. And I think I tracked down the issue by going back over and looking at how weapons fire in Tarkov. In this game, the recoil kind of makes your screen go up with the gun, and it just feels like everything's kind of attached to the same point. It feels sort of rigid. However, if you look at this clip from Tarkov, you can see that the weapons are firing independently of the screen. So the recoil is happening independently of your character's eye sockets. And the weapons just look like they pack more of a punch, is all. And lastly, with regards to this, the reloads happen off screen. I'm sure that's just because it's so early in development, he hasn't had time to model, but I'd probably like to see that happen on screen. Next up is the stamina bar. So it seems like that hasn't been fully fleshed out yet. Once you completely deplete all of your body stamina, that starts to take down your arm stamina. Also, holding your weapon up takes down some arm stamina as well. But once your stamina completely runs out, it doesn't make you stop sprinting, it doesn't make you stop jumping, and the effect on your weapon accuracy isn't really enough to really make a huge difference. So probably just, again, something that's an early development kink that'll get fleshed out in the future, but a core gameplay issue nonetheless. Next, as I was playing through the demo portion of the thing and outside of the sandbox little area, I was noticing that as I was coming up against enemies, the footsteps sounded so close. And like I felt like the guy was right on top of me, and then I'd look around, have no idea where the guy was, and then he ended up being all the way across the road, and then he'd just cat me in the face. So maybe just figuring out the depth of sound would be a good stepping stone. And lastly, the movement mechanics. The jumping in this game is a little weird. It's definitely very clunky. I don't know what kind of movement system he's going for with the like actual walking around and everything. Everything just seems kind of slow. Everything seems like it takes a while to happen. So far, he's already built in a lot of different features, or at least shown that there's intent to fully complete certain features in the game, like having a loot rarity system. Kind of curious to see how that's going to fit into the game. A volume system, weight system, weapon wear system, all that stuff is pretty in-depth, and I'm excited to see how he kind of shakes it out. So the volume system in this game, when you open up the chest and everything, there's a certain amount of allocated space that something can physically take up in space, not necessarily weight. It's not represented as different, like having a weapon take up multiple slots, but it's represented by a bar in the middle of the menu, the bottom of the menu. So that should be pretty interesting for resource management and all that, being a survival game. I'm pretty happy with the attention to detail on the whole walking on different materials thing. The footsteps make different sounds as you walk over different materials. I like the fact that there's an arm stamina feature, like I said before. I just hope that they figure out how to actually make that work in a more noticeable way. I do like that once your normal stamina drains, it also starts to drain your arm stamina, because I mean that just makes sense. I don't know if there's going to be, ballistics physics or anything like that in this game. I would assume so, with the way that the developer talks about how he wants this game to be, but that's pretty hard to tell this early on in the development cycle. And even if there's not, I mean, that wouldn't be game killing. I don't think that would be the end of the world, but it would be cool nonetheless. So it might sound like I'm bagging on the game right now, but I'm really not. The core gameplay is what the developer asked for feedback on, so that's pretty much what I'm focusing on. I really like the concept. I'm super excited that it's a single player game. There's not many single player games really being released nowadays. He did say that there is some intent to maybe in the future do multiplayer, but the forefront is to really polish the single player in this game. So I'm really excited to see what he does with that. And I genuinely am looking forward to the second demo and when early access comes out, because like I was saying before, if you keep an eye on the YouTube videos that he's releasing, look at the statements that he has on his website, I think you'll be as excited as I am about it. But all around, it looks like it's going to be a pretty fun game. I'm really excited about it. That's why I made a video on it. I understand that I'm a pretty small channel and I can't really count on my little piece of the puzzle being the thing that really elevates this game to the next level, but I hope that I can help out as much as I can. I'm really excited about this game because of the fact that the developer seems hell-bent on making sure that his development process is as transparent as possible, and I like that he's not accepting any money except for through Patreon and donations. He's not trying to force people to buy early access, so I'm overall happy with how this game looks so far, and I'm looking forward to see what happens in the future. I'm going to be linking the YouTube video that he just put out about the demo and the link to the website down in the description. So if you're interested in this game, show him some support. Please like and subscribe to my channel. That would help me a lot. And thank you for watching. This has been Fatal. Have a great day.